Hi everyone, this is Robin, and in this video we're going to be looking at how you should respond to a flanker who's trying to get around your team. So in this example, we've got Team Yellow over on this side, and we've got Team White over on this side. This character here will be our flanker, and this character here is going to be our counterflanker. So, when we see someone trying to flank around our line, there are generally 4 responses which this person comes up with. And unfortunately, 3 of those responses that we commonly see on the field are incorrect. So we're going to look at those 3 incorrect responses first, and then we're going to get into the correct response. So response number 1, and you would be shocked by how many times this happens, but it does happen quite commonly. This guy is running around the line, and this guy stands here and does nothing, and he comes around and hits everyone in the back. Obviously, that's no good. Response number 2. We will have this guy running around the line, and this fighter will respond by turning to face him. And he will continue turning as this fighter gets farther and farther around the line. Now, the problem here is that this fighter needs to realize that this flanker is not interested in killing him. This flanker is interested in killing these people.
Oh.
So, he's interested in killing these people. So unfortunately, this response of turning, while it feels safe for this fighter, is actually detrimental to his line because he does nothing to stop the flanker from getting around. And then there is the third response. This fighter will come around to flank, and this fighter will respond by engaging with the flanker, which is good. However, oftentimes we see a mistake made where this fighter, maybe he doesn't feel confident in his abilities to fight this guy, maybe he isn't as good of a fighter as he is, so he will respond by giving ground before this fighter, and it will look something like this. Now, the problem with this is the flanker is not interested in killing this guy on the edge here. He is still interested in killing these fighters. So, as soon as he gets beyond the end of this line, he is going to turn around and run this way and kill everyone. This guy will turn around, or will turn and run after him, and probably not catch him. So, unfortunately, while well-intentioned, this response also does nothing to protect the line of Team White. So, those are the 3 incorrect responses. So now we're going to look at the correct response. We will have the flanker start running around to get around this line. The counterflanker will push out and meet this flanker. Now we're going to notice he's going to push out straight out to his right. And if this flanker continues to try to get around, he's going to continue pushing out just like so. We're going to take an overhead look at this field, and we're going to notice that we've got a line that extends out from the line of Team White. If this flanker can get anywhere behind this line, then he has won the flank, because all he has to do is turn, cut in, and there is probably not a whole lot that this counterflanker can do, because the battle for a flank is really a positional battle. The flanker isn't fighting to kill the counterflanker, he's fighting to gain the correct positioning he needs so that he can turn in and kill the rest of the line by getting behind them. So that's why this is so important that we push out to the side and we don't let this flanker get behind our line. So the two big things that we need to watch out for are this flanker trying to come around this way or trying to come in through the middle. Now, here's where we're going to get into the subtle difference between defending a right flank versus a left flank. The right flank is actually harder to defend, which is why we're looking over here. When we're defending this right flank, if we're doing it really well, we're going to stay about 12 to maybe 18 inches to the inside of this flanker. It does make it easier for him to run around this way, so we'll have to be very careful about that. But it makes it very difficult for him to cut through the gap that we've created and run behind our line. If we are even with this flanker, many times what the flanker will do is he will turtle behind his shield, put his shield behind his back, and try to run past us. And because our sword is on his shield side, that's fairly easy for him to do, and is often successful. So by claiming the 12 to 18 inch inside line, we put our bodies in front of the flanker, and he can no longer do that so easily. If we are protecting the left flank, this is the easier flank to protect, because if this flanker tries to turn in and run through the gap, his shield is on the opposite side of his body from our sword, and it is convenient to kill him as he tries to run by. That makes this flank a little bit easier, and in fact, if we want to be really tricky, we can stand 6 to 12 inches to his outside and try to bait him into making that mistake. Now, there are a couple of considerations to keep in mind if we have a mismatch of skill between these two fighters. Many times, this fighter might not be as good as the flanking fighter. Now, there are still things that he can do to make this flank unsuccessful for the better fighter. The first thing he can do is he can try to trade his life for hitting the flanker in the leg. That takes the flanker out of the fight. It takes away his speed and mobility, and now he can no longer successfully flank Team White. Or, if he doesn't quite believe he can get that leg hit successfully, he can just aggressively defend against this flanker and waste the flanker's time. If we use a 1 to 10 scale, and we'll say this fighter is a 5, and we'll pretend this fighter is a 10, if our counter flanker can waste 10 to 15 seconds worth of this fighter's time, then that was a successful use of our counter flanker's time. And during that time, if this duel between these two people is truly lost from the beginning, wasting the flanker's time is the counterflanker's best option, and during that time, we'll just have to hope that his line can win enough of the engagement to make the flanker's efforts not have any impact in the long run. So, that's what I have to offer about how we can successfully defend against the opponents when they attempt to flank us. The biggest thing to keep in mind is the flanker wants to get behind our line, in this case, Team White's line. And the biggest thing that we have to keep in mind is not to let the flanker break past this white plane. As soon as he gets past this white plane, he has won the flank, and there's very little that we can do to stop him.